Greetings to everyone. From ManageEngine family, we would like to extend a warm welcome and sincere thanks to all our customers, partners, users who are interested in our solution. If you're new to ManageEngine, we are a division of Zoho Corp and we focus on IT management tools. We at ManageEngine help MSP to manage their customers' IT infrastructure and automate their processes. And we help MSP to improve their end user experience. We have products that can help you in monitoring, patch management, security management, asset tracking, and much more. So these are the product portfolios from ManageEngine that were specifically designed for MSP needs. We have Service Desk MSP version, an IT SM tool from ManageEngine, and we have Endpoint Central MSP version, an end-to-end endpoint management that includes Windows, Mac, and Linux. And we have Mobile Device Manager Plus that focus on Android and iOS management. And we have PAM 360, a centralized tool to manage your customers' critical IT system. And we have AD Manager Plus, a tool to automate your AD reports and AD tasks. And we have Event Log Analyzer, a tool that provides real-time event correlation and log collection and compliance reporting. And we have Password Manager Pro to store sensitive information like passwords and digital identities. And we have Site 24/7, a cloud-based monitoring tool from ManageEngine. And we have OP Manager, an on-prem based monitoring tool for your network devices. And then we have RMM Central. So RMM Central is a centralized tool for both endpoint management and network monitoring, all from one single web console. So we'll be focusing on RMM Central in this training. Once again, we welcome you all to RMM Central training. So we are on the session 2, where we'll focus on the endpoint management features of RMM Central, and then we'll discuss on the integration that supports within RMM Central. So before going into the training, let's discuss on the agenda. So we'll have an overlook on what RMM Central is all about, and we'll discuss on the architecture that lies behind the RMM Central, and then we'll discuss on each and every endpoint management features of RMM Central in detail, and we will explain you how RMM Central can be integrated with Service Desk plus MSP version for CMDB tracking. So what is RMM Central? RMM Central is a one-stop solution that unifies endpoint management and network monitoring for MSP and helps MSP to automate their IT management from one single web console. With RMM Central, you can discover, manage, secure, and monitor all your client endpoint from one single web console. With that being said, let's discuss how RMM Central works in the backend, and we will focus on each and every module of endpoint management within RMM Central in detail. So how RMM Central works in the backend? So to understand how RMM Central works, we need to understand its core architecture, its main components. So it has three main components. One is a central server, the other one is the lightweight agent, and the next one is a probe. So being an on-prem product, you have to either install this product on your Windows platform, or you need to get this application from the marketplace. It can be Azure or AWS. So once you got the central server, you will get one web console, and from this web console, you'll be able to centrally manage all your endpoints, and you will be able to centrally monitor all your network devices. So let's say, in case if you doesn't have a site-to-site connection between your corporate and your customer network, you don't have to worry. So we have a component called Secure Gateway from ManageEngine that will help you to address this use case. So you can have one public IP assigned to the secure gateway. So all the communication coming from outside will pass through the secure gateway. So the secure gateway will act as a reverse proxy to validate each and every connection coming from outside, and it will pass only the valid connection to the central server. So by placing a secure gateway in your DMZ, you'll be able to expose your central server publicly to manage multiple networks and multiple customers from one single product. So for endpoint management, you have to install a lightweight agent. And for endpoint monitoring or network monitoring, you have to install a probe on each one of your customer network for the monitoring purpose. So how to set up this product? Once you have installed this product, or once you got this application from the marketplace, you will get one web console, something like this. So once you got the web console, the first step will be adding your customers or onboarding your customers into the product. So you can go to the admin section here and you will have something called customers. So you can go inside the customers where you can add n number of customers to create a logical space for each and every customers to manage it separately. So you can fill your customer details and you can create a logical space for each and every customer. And once your customer is created, the next step will be creating a remote office for each and every customer that you like to manage. So you can go inside the management session of an RMM Central and you can go to the agent and you can click on the remote office tab. So inside a remote office, so let's say if your customer is having multiple geographical location and you want them to manage separately, then you can have a logical entity created called remote office. So this remote office can be created with or without a distribution server. So I will again go to the architecture to explain the purpose of distribution server. So let's say if your customer is having a distributed workforce, so they have hundreds of endpoints in an office network and few endpoints which are working from home. So for this scenario, you can have one distribution server hosted in your customer's LAN network to save the bandwidth of your customer. So let's say they have hundreds of endpoints. So instead of each and every endpoint coming to the central server to download its own patch or software, so you can nominate any one machine on your customer network as a distribution server so that whenever you push a patch or software, the distribution server will act as a catch server and all the endpoints under the distribution server will get the patch or software from this distribution server. If your end user is roaming or working from home, then they will get the patch file directly from the central server. So once you have this remote office created, the next step will be the agent installation. So we have multiple ways to do this agent installation. So I will explain one by one. So the first step will be installing the agent using the Active Directory integration. So since we have a distribution server in each of your customer network, and let's say if your customer is an Active Directory domain, you can use this distribution server to act as an AD connector. So this will sync with your customer's Active Directory periodically, and it will fetch all the computer objects into the RMM Central product. So once it is done, you can create a policy to sync a particular OU or the entire OU. So whenever a new machine gets added into your customer Active Directory, the agent installation will happen automatically by itself. Or let's say you don't need to have any AD connectors to your customer network, then you can download the agent file. So it can be an MSA or it can be an EXE, and you can use a group policy to install the agent automatically on your customer network. Also, we have IP scripts which can be run against an IP subnet that will automatically install the agent. Or if you have an existing solution like SSCM or Intune, you can also install the agent through SCCM or Intune. So we have documents for that as well. So once the agent is installed, the agent running on your endpoint will do a complete scan and it will let you know all the missing patches on your endpoint here on the web console. So this missing patch includes Windows patching for all Windows flavors from Windows 11 to Windows 7. And if your customer is having any Windows Server operating system, we do support patching for that as well. Along with that, we do support patching for Mac flavors, all versions of Mac, and we do support patching for Linux as well. Along with the OS patching, we do support third-party application patching for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So as of now, we support 700 plus third-party application and hundreds of application for Mac and Linux. So if your endpoint is having any one of these application running in the older version, the agent running on an endpoint will detect any application or any patch if it is missing on your endpoint, and it will automatically report that information to this console. And let's say if you want to install any application or a patch, you can simply select this missing patch and you can click install. So this will create a configuration and it will fetch all the machines in which that particular patch is missing, and you can deploy it from here. But this is the manual way of deploying a patch using RMM Central. And if you want to automate your patching process, we have something called automatic patch deployment task. So using automatic patch deployment task, you'll be able to completely automate your entire patching process by simply creating one task here. So you can create one task for a Windows. Let's say if you want to automate your patching process for your Windows laptops, you can create one task here. And here you can select the patches that needs to be pushed automatically. So in this case, I'm going with the security and non-security updates from Windows and critical and important patches for my third-party application. So either you can select all the third-party application running in your network, or you can manually select the application which you want to keep it up to date. So in this case, I'm going with the Chrome and Java application. So whenever there is a critical or an important patch available for Chrome or Java, the patching will happen automatically by itself. So once the patches has been defined, the next step will be creating a deployment policy. So you can define when this patching should happen on a client's network. So for each client, they might have a different use case that can be automated here. So you can create one deployment policy and you can define the weeks in which you want to do the patching, and you can define the day in which you want to do the patching, and you can define the time. So let's say customers having a downtime only during the second and third week of every month. You can select the weeks here and you can select the day. So let's say they want to do the patching only on the weekend. That can be defined here. And you can define the time window in which you want to do the patching. So once the time window is defined, you can add some pre-deployment activity to the patching cycle. So let's say if they have some desktops and laptops inside their corporate network, can use our wake on LAN feature to automatically wake their machine even if they are in off state to do the patching. And also we do support pre-deployment reboot inside the patching schedule. So let's say if your endpoint is not rebooted properly from the previous patch cycle, you can add one pre-deployment reboot here so that the machine will get rebooted automatically even before the patching, and then the new patches will get applied. Also, we do support scripting for Windows and Linux machine. So let's say if you have a use case where you want to stop a SQL server or stop an application before applying a new patch. So you can write a script. It can be a PowerShell, BAT, or VBS to automate this process. Also, if it is an end user laptop, you can create one user notification to give a prompt to the end user. So let's say if you're applying a patch to their BIOS and you don't want your users to interrupt that process, you can create one custom message here so that your users will know what is happening on their machine. And in case if you want to give an option to the users to skip this patching, you can even give an option to skip the patching for a number of days. Or in case if you do the patching completely silent in the backend, you can just uncheck this feature so that all the activity will happen completely silent at the backend. So once the pre-deployment activity defined, the next will be post-deployment activity, where you can control the reboots after the patching. So you can choose whether you want to do a reboot or not. And in case if you don't want to do any reboots, you can simply save this policy. Or in case if you want to do any reboots, you can add one reboot task here where you will get multiple features. So the first option will be the force reboot. So the traditional way. So immediately after the patching, the machine will get rebooted. Or let's say you want to do the patching in weekdays, but you want to do the reboot only on the weekend. So you can add the reboot schedule here so that the reboot will happen only during the weekend. Or let's say if it is an end user laptop or desktop and you want to do the reboot only after getting the confirmation from the end user, you can go with the delayed reboot option, where you can set the postpone intervals so that immediately after the patching, a prompt will be shown to the user with your custom message. And if your user doesn't want to reboot their machine, they will have an option to postpone the reboot. So they will have an option to postpone the reboot either to next 15 minutes or next 1 hour or next 2 hour based on the setting. And they can keep on postponing the reboot until some n number of hours. So let's say 24 hours. So for 24 hours, your end user will be able to skip the reboot, and after that, the forced reboot will happen on their machine. Even while doing the forced reboot, you can give some timeout. So let's say 20 minutes, so that your user will get 20 minutes to save their documents, and then the forced reboot will happen on their machine. Also, in case if the patch doesn't need a reboot, for example, a Chrome patch or a Notepad patch. So the product is intelligent enough to identify whether a patch needs a reboot or not. And if the patch doesn't need a reboot, we will simply skip the reboot if this option is enabled. So by using a custom deployment policy, you'll be able to completely automate your patching process without compromising the end user productivity. So you can have different policy created, one for the servers, one for the workstation, one for the Linux machine, based on your customer's use case, and you can have it selected. And once it is selected, the next step will be choosing your targets. So while choosing the targets, you can either select all the machines in your customer network, or you can create filters based on the custom groups inside RMM Central. So within RMM Central, you will have an option to create groups, and these groups can be static or dynamic. So if you go to the UEM session of RMM Central, you will have something called custom groups, where you can create groups for a different use cases. And these groups can be static or dynamic. So in static group, either you can create a group manually by pulling the computers, or you can import the computer names from a CSV file and you can create a computer group. Or let's say if you have a criteria, like let's say you want to group all the Windows 10 machine into one single group with a criteria that the computer name should start with US and it should have an application installed named AirDrop. So this will group all the Windows 10 machine with the host name starts with the US and a software installed called AirDrop. So this way, you can automatically group the machine and you can use those groups for this patching. Also, you will have an option to exclude machine from the patching. So let's say if you have targeted all the Windows 10 machine in a network and you don't want to patch certain machine for any particular reason, so you can add those machine name in the exclusion list. So even if those machines are running in Windows 10 or Windows 11, the patching will not happen because it has been excluded from this target. Again, the exclusion can be done based on the group's IP range or operating system based on a use case. So the targeting is very granular and very user friendly. The last step will be adding your email for the reporting, or you can add your customer email directly here so that the recipient will get the report as a PDF or an Excel file directly to your email periodically. So once the policy is created, whenever there is a patch available for your customer network, the patches will get approved automatically and then it will be deployed to their production machine through this automatic patch deployment task. And you'll be able to see the progress here on the web console. In case if you want to do the patching in your test machines or in your non-production machine before going into any automated patching, then you can use our test and approve feature where you can create a group of test machine and you can add the test machine here, patches that needs to be tested for both Windows and third-party application, and you can define the approval time. So let's say 7 days. So in this case, whenever there is a patch is available for your customer network, the patches will not get installed directly to your production machine. Rather, it will install on the test machine, defined inside the test and approve, and it will be waiting for your approval for 7 days. So you can monitor your test machine for 7 days. And in case if there is any issue in your test machine, or let's say if you read some article about a particular patch causing some major issues on other customer network, at any time within this wait period, you can come to the console and you can select the patch which is causing the issue and you can mark that particular patch as a decline one. So if you decline a patch from this console, you will never deploy that particular patch to the production machine. But in case if everything goes as per the plan, the patches will get approved automatically and then it will be deployed to the production machine through the automatic patch deployment task. So we do support patch rollback for Windows. So in case if you want to roll back any particular patch for any reason, you can go to the install patch view where you will see the list of patches that has been installed on your Windows machine. And if you want to roll back that patch, you can simply select the patch and you can click uninstall. So this will again create one configuration and fetch all the machine in which that particular patch is installed. And you can push this configuration to roll back that particular patch from those endpoints. Also, you will get one centralized report for your patching data. So this report will help you with all the install patch, missing patch information, and it will let you know whether your endpoint is vulnerable or healthy. And if you want to export this data, you can export the data from here. Or if you want to schedule these reports to your email, to your customer email, you can even schedule it from here. Next model will be the software deployment. So using software deployment, you'll be able to install or uninstall any third-party application using our solution. So if you want to install an application or if you want to uninstall an application, you can go to our templates and you can create a filter, or let's say Windows, and you will find 1,000 plus predefined application already created and already available for you. All these application has been already tested in our test bed. And if you want to install any application, so let's say if you want to install Chrome, so you can simply search for the application and you will find the latest version here. So you can create a package from here. So this package has been already tested with a silent switch. So you don't need to do any special testing. Rather, you can simply create this package from here and you can push that package to your endpoints from here. But let's say if the application which you're looking for, if it is not available in your templates, or if it is a custom application which may not be available publicly. So during those scenario, you can create your own software package for either for all customers or for a single customer based on a use case. So you can upload the MSI file or the exe file directly to this web portal, and you can create your own software package with pre-deployment and post-deployment activity, just like patching. So you can upload the installer file from your machine to this web portal, and you can add some pre-deployment activity and post-deployment activity based on a use case. So let's say if you do some scripting before installing an application, or let's say if you do play with the registry before installing the application, or let's say you want to uninstall the existing application before installing the new application, you can add the pre-deployment task here, also the post-deployment activity, and then you can create a package. And once the package is created, you'll be able to centrally push that application from this web portal by creating a configuration. So you can create one configuration, and you can select the package which you want to deploy, and you can select a deployment policy in case if you need to do it at a specific time, and you can choose your targets just like patching. You can select all the machines in a network, or you can select a group of machine, and you can push it from here. So this will silently install the application, and it will give you the results in the web portal. So in case of any failures, you'll be able to see the result in this web portal. So you will have something called self-service portal, where instead of pushing the application from this web portal, you can publish the softwares from this web console. So you can create one configuration where you can push the softwares which can be published to the end users based on the groups, and you can have it published here. So as an end user, if I want any application, so instead of reaching my IT team, I can reach my self-service portal from my machine. So all users will have access to the self-service portal, so that they can launch their self-service portal from their machine. And if they want to install any application, they can trigger the installation from here without having admin rights for their machine, because the installation will happen using the agent. So without providing admin rights to your users, you can let your users to install the application directly from the self-service portal. Also, you will get a report of how the users are using the self-service portal in the reporting session. So the next module will be the inventory. So with the inventory, you will get a complete information about your endpoint under one single portal. So once you have the agent installed, the agent will do a complete scan, and it will let you know all the information about your endpoint here on the web console. So this includes the host name, the domain name, the IP, the operating system, the license key, the license, the manufacturer information, the device model. And if it is a Dell machine or a Lenovo machine, we have some tight integration with Dell and Lenovo, where we will let you know the shipping date and the warranty date here on the console automatically by doing an API call in the backend. Also, you will get all the user account present on the machine, and you will get all the groups present on the machine from here, and you will get all the hardware specs of your endpoint centrally stored here, like the BIOS information, the RAM, CPU, processor, TPM details, etc. And you will get all the third-party application running on your endpoint will get listed here. So this will have the software name, version, install date, install location, and also in case if you're doing an uninstallation, you will have an option to trigger the silent uninstallation from here. If it is a Windows 10 or Windows 11 machine, you will have an option to do the BitLocker information about your endpoint, and if it is encrypted, you will get the recovery key from this portal. Also, you can get the antivirus information about your endpoint here on the web console, and also you can get the firewall information about your endpoint here on the web console. And in case if your end user connects any USB to their machine, that will get audited and that will get stored here. And any changes on the endpoint, like software installation, software uninstallation, will get audited and that will get stored here. And all this data can be taken as a report. You will get some out-of-box reports inside the reporting model. So let's say if you want to get a report of all endpoint with a particular application is installed, or if the particular application is missing, you can get that data from here. Or let's say if you do get the antivirus information about all your endpoint, you can get this report. Or let's say if you want to get the BitLocker information about your endpoint, that can be taken from here. If you have any custom criteria to create a report, so let's say you want to get all the machine in which the total hard disk space is more than 500 GB, and you need some fields in that report, so you can add the fields which you want to see in the report, and you can run this report and you will get the data here. All these reports can be scheduled directly to your email or to your customer email using the schedule report option here. So the next model will be the configuration. So this configuration will give a granular control to your Windows, Mac, or Linux endpoint. So let's say if you're deploying any scripts to your endpoint, so you can write your own script and you can have the script uploaded here, and you can choose your targets and you can push the script centrally from here. Similarly, in case if you want to do any registry modification, so let's say if you want to create or delete any registry entry, that can be automated from here. Or let's say if you want to create a local user, or if you want to delete a local user, or if you want to change the password for the existing local user, that can be automated from here. Also, you can block USB ports on an end user machine. So in case if you want to block a USB port, that can be automated from here. And you can whitelist only the official one so that your end user will not able to use their personal devices on their official machine. And you can copy files or you can delete files centrally from here. You can create task schedulers, you can map printers, you can create shortcuts, you can play with the firewalls, you can set wallpapers, you can set pro settings, you can distribute certificates. So this configuration will give a granular control to your Windows machine so that you don't need to depend on a complex group policy to make the changes on your endpoint. Similarly, you will get features on your Mac as well, where you can run scripts, create users, push Wi-Fi profiles, change passcodes, map printers, push profiles centrally from here. On Linux, you will have an option to push scripts. You can push scale scripts from here. So you can write your own script, or you can get the script from a script repository, and you can push that from the console. Also, you will have the remote control feature within RMM Central under Tools model, where you can silently remote into the end user machine from here. So this remote session can be taken silently, or you can get the remote session with user confirmation. So let's say, as per your customer's privacy policy, they want you to do the remote control only after getting the confirmation from their end users. Can have this option enabled so that whenever a technician tries to take a remote control, a prompt will be shown to the users, and only after getting the confirmation from the end user, you'll be able to do the remote control. Also, we have System Manager, where you can silently access the end user machine from the backend. So you can access their command prompt, registry, file manager, task manager from the backend, and you can do your troubleshooting without disturbing the end user. Also, you will get remote shutdown. So in case if you do schedule some reboot activity on your end user laptops, desktops, or server machine, that can be automated here, so that periodically the machine will get rebooted and you will see the results in the web portal. You will get announcement feature. So in case if you want to make an announcement to all the users or to all the computers, you can put your message and you can set the start time and the end time, and you can choose your targets and you can push from here. With RMM Central, you'll be able to manage your customers' mobile devices from this web portal. So we support MDM within RMM Central that can help you to manage Android, iOS, Chromebook from this portal. So these devices can be a corporate owned, or it can be a bring your own device model, which can be followed by a customer that can be enrolled into the product. And for corporate iOS devices, we support Apple Business Manager enrollment feature, where you can automatically enroll the customer's iOS devices into the MDM portal once it is purchased from the vendor. For Android, we support EMM token, where you can scan the QR code and you can enroll the Androids into the MDM. Also, we support invite-based enrollment method, where you can send the invite to both iOS as well as Android users to enroll their devices into the MDA module of RMM Central. And once it is enrolled, you can create a profile centrally and you can push that profile from here. So let's say if your customer is having a sales team where you need to create a profile based on their security standard. So you can create a profile. So let's say for Android, you can create a profile, and here you can centrally define the password policy which your end user should have from here. Also, you can create restrictions, like you can block the users from using their camera, you can block their users from taking screenshots, you can block your users to use SD cards into their devices, you can block your users to block USB, connecting USB to their devices, and you can push Wi-Fi policy from here, you can push VPN profile from here, you can set wallpaper, you can run a device in a kiosk mode where you can allow a single app mode or multi-app mode based on your customer use cases, and you can distribute certificates from here, you can create web shortcuts from here. So based on your customer's use case, you can create a centralized profile and you can push that profile from here. Also, you'll be able to push applications to your end user devices. So these applications can be directly fetched from Apple Store or Play Store, and you can push the application centrally from here. And you can automate the app updates. So you can define when the app updates should happen on your end user device, and you can do content management where you can publish sensitive data to your end users where they will not be able to download it or they may not be able to take a screenshot from their MDM app. So they can send us sensitive data in a secure way using our content management feature. Also, for both Android and iOS, you'll be able to define when the OS upgrade should happen on the device. So you can define the delay and you can define the week and you can define the time so that you can schedule the mobile updates just like you're scheduling the Windows or Mac updates from our patch management. Also, we have announcement feature where you can send announcement to your end user mobile devices directly from here, and we support remote control for iOS and Android. For iOS, we support only the remote view feature, whereas for Android, we support direct remote control from the MDM module. So you can select the device to which you want to take the remote control, and once the user gave the confirmation, you'll be able to directly go into their device and you can control the device from your browser. Also, during this remote session, just like Windows, you will have the chat option where you can directly chat with your end user and you can close the session once it is completed. Also, we support geofencing for Android and iOS. So you can create a geofencing for a particular device and you can define the action whether you want to do a complete wipe or you want to notify you through an email once the user left that geographical location. And we support conditional access with Office 365 where you can restrict your users to use their official email from a MDM enrolled device. So for both Android and iOS, we support geo-tracking, where you can track the geographical location of your end user from your browser to the exact location. So we use GPS on the device to track their location. So you can track the exact location of your user using the Google Maps. And in case if the device got lost for any reason, and if you want to wipe the data on the device, you will have the wipe option directly from this action icon. So you can do a complete wipe or a corporate wipe depending on the mode of enrollment. So if your device is enrolled as a corporate device, you'll be able to do a complete wipe. And if it is enrolled as a bring your own device model, then you'll be able to do a corporate wipe from here. So RMM Central can be integrated with our ITSM solution, Service Desk Plus MSP version, where you can automate the asset population from RMM Central directly into the SDP. So you can go to the admin tab where you will have the integration session, and you can select the Service Desk Plus, where you can define the URL of your Service Desk Plus MSP version instance, and you can define the port number here, and you can define the protocol, and you can click here to generate the OTP. So that will create a new window where you can provide your username and password to generate an API key. And once the API key is defined, all the data from the inventory module of RMM Central will get populated to the SDP version of ManageEngine automatically by itself. So this way, you can have the data for your CMDB automatically populated from the UEM module of RMM Central directly to your SDP. So that's it for today. So thanks all for joining this training session.
Thank you for watching the video. Follow us on LinkedIn to know more about on the RMM Central. Would you like to have a personalized product walkthrough? Please click on the link here, and that would help us to reach you out at your comfortable time to let you know more about the product and can help you with the POC, understand your organization's environment, and showcase the benefits of RMM Central in your organization. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.